Welcome to Sunday at 7. I'm so glad you're here. This is our relaxed Sunday space. It's a chance to wind down the weekend, share stories, and enjoy good company. Each week, we'll share stories, reflections, and plenty of friendly conversation. All in a relaxed Sunday atmosphere. Pop a hello in the chat, grab yourself a brew and settle in. I will love hearing your thoughts as we go along. Let's get started with this week's Sunday at 7. Hi. I'm not sure. Oh, well, we have got somebody in. Oh, gee, good evening. I thought I was on my own here for quite a while. I've just been making a bit of a rush of it because the bloody football's only just finished. Anyway, I'll just hold on a little while because even though I don't mind talking to you, there's only me and you in. And it's a bit pointless of me starting to rabbit on about my first day. I was watching England play OG, so I do apologise because I haven't seen anything else. And I've muted the TV now, so the sports is off. Anyway, so I can't find my bloody notes now. I don't know what I'm doing here today. I do have some notes somewhere. Well, I presume you can hear me talking. And I missed last week because I was ill. So this week I'm carrying on from my trip from Brid to Aldershot, to my first day at Aldershot, getting met by the evening Levi. I always look good, OG, thank you. Yeah, so I do apologise if I sound a little bit off because I just can't find my bloody notes. But there's only two of us sat here talking. Well, there's three now. And so anyway, I'll start off with where I think I should start. After a couple of weeks ago, when I ended the stream, it was about me arriving at Aldershot and getting met at Aldershot by this big strapping sergeant and telling us to go and get on the coach. So we sat at the coach. Evening, Kels. We sat on the coach for quite a while, and I'm just going to blubber for a little while because I'm just looking for me notes. Cleaning your bathroom, well, that'd be nice. Better than cleaning your swimming pool. But yeah, so just bear with me while I just click around and I've got it open somewhere on my machine, but where, I have no idea, but I'll open it up again. There it is. All right. Okay. Oh, God. What am I doing? It's a bloody nightmare. That's with the football overrunning. That's what's done it. Oh, I can't find my notes and I don't know where to start. I do apologise. I'm thick as a fucking dustbin lid. So who have we got in? Let me see if I've missed anybody. I haven't missed Kels, OG and Levi. did. I've only just stopped watching it, OG. And I think it was 2-0. It was a good match, though. Very enjoyable. I enjoyed it. So I've got this open, and it's open in the same bloody place. And I want to open it in a different place, and I've no idea how to. Anyway, I got on the coach at Aldershot, and we had to wait for half an hour or so while a few more young lads joined the crowd. And when I say crowd, there was about 10 or 15 of us sat on the coach, and then about half an hour later, another 5 joined us, and the sergeant at the front said, "Right, we're going to go now." So we set off on the coach to go to our first barracks, and we're driving along out of the middle of Aldershot onto the outskirts. And I presume everybody will know that Aldershot in those days was known as the home of the British Army. Everywhere you looked, there were bloody barracks. Anyway, we'd been driving about 20 minutes, and the sergeant said, if you look out the left-hand side window, you'll be able to see the Catering College. And so we all had a look to see, and you could see this big 5 or 6 story high block. It looked a big white tower, and he said, "That's the Catering College, that's where we're going, or that's where you'll be going." So anyway, we're all getting a little bit excited on the coach, and must have been 20 minutes on the coach, maybe 30 minutes, and we're driving along, and all of a sudden the coach takes a left. And thought, well, taking a left, we're going away from this place where he said we were going. And not long after that, we came up to a big entrance to a camp, an army camp. And on the front of the army camp, on the big sign saying, home of the Army Catering College, Army Catering Corps, Junior Training Regiment. And we drove through there, past the guardhouse on the left, and we came up the hill type thing, and there was a great big parade ground in front of us. And pulled up at the side of the parade ground, and this sergeant shouted, "Right, get out and form up on the parade ground there." Anyway, none of us knew what bloody forming up meant. We just climbed off the bus, got our cases, and went onto the parade ground. And all of a sudden, we were inundated by corporals and sergeants, and in full uniform. And you go, "Bro, hell, what's happening here?" And anyway, this big sergeant major with one of them paste sticks stuck under his arm, looked like a guardsman, really. And he shouted, "Come on, you bloody shower of shit, get into lines." Anyway, after a couple of minutes, we managed to get into lines and whatever. And he got at the front and starts bellowing about who he was and where we were. And, "You've left your mother. I'm your mother now. So listen to what I say and do everything I say and everything these say." And I think there were 2 sergeants behind him, and I think 4 corporals behind him or them. So he gives us a little bit of a pep talk and whatever, Wasn't a talk, it was a shout, basically. And anyway, he said, "I'm going to put you in the hands of I'm going to put you in the... Anyway, these two sergeants came forward. One sergeant said, right, listen for your names, and once you hear your name, shout, sir. Take a step forward. Anyway, he starts off, and it was all alphabetical, as Army does, alphabetical. And Adams, Brown, sir, you know, going through, and then he come to Smith. So he shouts, Smith. And you hear me, I shout, sir, and the little lad next to me shouts, sir, and we both step forward. And he said, okay, I'm looking for Smith from Yorkshire. So I said, sir, took another step forward. So he said, right, over to me right, you're in Cassino Platoon. Go over there. There was half a dozen of others have been called and put in there. Some were put in another group called Burma Platoon. Anyway, so he said, right, Smith, Shetland Smith, Cassino Platoon. So again, he went forward and come into where I was. So we were still together. So it ended up there was probably 8 or 9 in my Cassino Platoon, and there were 7 or 8 in the other platoon. And this corporal walks up to us in the Cassino Platoon and said, right, I'm so, I can't remember names, you'll have to forgive me. I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, I'm your corporal. Everything I tell you to do, you do. So after a couple of more moments of shouting and screaming and telling us what was and what wasn't and whatever, he said, right, you're going to go to Block B. And when we see at the top behind us, above the parade ground was a block, and you could see the letter B on it. So we knew where we were going. So he said, right, we're going to march you up there. Oh, God. So he started shouting, you know, left turn, right turn, left turn, left, right, and doing your best you can to be a bit of a prat. But we managed to get to Block B. We stood outside. He said, right, all this group, you're on... No, he didn't. He split us up. So he split us up into 2 crews. So there was, I was in one, and the Shetland Smith was in the other. And he said, right, the group army, and he pointed at, he said, you're in the top floor, right hand. Go and get rid of your kit. Don't do anything else. Just go into the room, get rid of your cases or whatever you've got. And you in the other, which Shetland Smith was in the other group, he said, you're in ground floor, right-hand side. Do the same. Once you've got rid of all your kit, come back out and form up in a line here. Anyway, off we pops. Next thing you know, you can hear him shouting, where the fuck are you? Get down here now. I only told you to put your suitcases down. I didn't tell you to fuck about, because it was all effing and blinding at us. Shouting and screaming. Frightened to death, really. But there you go. Anyway, we got outside. We had one line, and I seem to recall it was about 10 of us. I can't remember the exact figures, but so this corporal in front of us had a load of cards, and he said, I'm going to call your name out. When I call your name out, shout, sir, and step 1, step forward. So he's shouting names out, and he comes to Smith. And of course, again, 2 Smiths. So he said, I want Smith from Yorkshire. So, yeah. So he handed me a card and then handed another card to the Shetland Smith. Anyway, when you looked at the card, on the card was my full name, my date of birth, and what platoon I was in, what block I was in, and an 8-digit number. And he said, right, I want you to read that. That's what you are now. You know, from now on, you're going to be called by your army number. So it's an 8-digit number is this number. And I mean, I'm 15 and a half or 15-year-old. I can't remember the number to the bloody telephone. I mind about an 8-digit number. Anyway, so I looked at my card and saw what I was and started. Yeah, a bit like that, Levi. A bit like that. Once you know it, you know it. You won't forget it. Anyway, so my number was 24097615. And I got talking to the Shetland Smith, and I said, what's your number? And he said, 24097614. Oh, I said, fucking hell, it's going to be a nightmare, is this? Anyway, this corporal says, right, I want everybody to go upstairs or into your rooms and choose a bed. So off we pops, up the stairs into the big room, and it was a fairly long dormitory type room, and on one side was 5 metal beds, and on the other side, on the left hand side, was 5 metal beds. All double windows coming all the way around. No curtains, nothing like that, just bloody windows. And at the side of each bed was a double doored metal wardrobe, or whatever you want to call it. Can't remember what you call it now, but it was your... So anyway, I picked a bed. I went three down on the right-hand side, and I picked that one and put my case on the bed, and this corporal come up and shouted, right, stand by your beds. So we all stood at the end of our bed, the ones we'd chosen. And he said, right, what you're going to do now is you're going to go down to the quartermasters to draw your bedding and your kit. And we don't want any messing about because, you know, we don't have time to mess about. It's getting late in the day and this is going to take us an hour or so. So just move yourselves. So, right, everybody outside and I'll take you. So we're all outside here. In and out, in and out, in and out. But we're outside again and off we pop. He says, right, we're going to march you down to the quartermaster store. So, again, he's shouting. Hi, YS, good evening. Yeah, so he's shouting left, right, you know, and you haven't a clue what you're bloody doing. You're just marching down to this huge, looked like a kind of a hangar, but it you know, it was a big brick place. It wasn't a hangar. Anyway, we go through the doors and the corporal says, right, stand here. So we all stood there and this quartermaster come forward and shouted, right, what I want you to do is I want you to get in a line and you're going to walk down this long counter, and as you get to each soldier behind the counter, he's going to give you some of your kit. So anyway, nobody wanted to go first. As you do. We're all wetting ourselves, but anyway, the corporal made, you go, and we had to follow on. So you come to the first guy, first soldier, and he throws at you. he throws at you this kit bag, and he says, right, this is your kit bag, open it up and hold it at the side of you as you go down. So off we pop, got my kit bag. I went down to the next one, and it was I can't explain how it was said, but everything was in twos. So it was 2 tea towels for the use of. It wasn't tea towels, it was big long towels. Army green. Everything was army green. Towels, face cloth, and what else was there with that? Towels, face cloth. That was it. Put it in your kit, into the kit bag. You went down, and as you're going down, you're getting more and more stuff. Your kit bag's getting fuller and fuller and fuller. And then we get to the last one. My kit bag's full of kit, and we get to the last one, and the last one was your bedding. And it was, Honest Ghost 25. Honest Ghost 25. Anyway, you'll have to forgive me because the names are jumping out my head and I can't have a clue who I'm talking to. But there you go. So the last things to get was army blankets. I don't know if anybody knows what army blankets are like, but they're bloody awful. Again, green. And you got with it 2 green pillowcases. All right. Hiya, Dom. Enjoy your dinner. So there we are. We're stood. I've got a kit bag that's nearly as tall as I am, full to the brim with flavour. And this sergeant shouts, right, outside now. So we get outside. He said, right, form up into 2 lines of itchy blankets. Oh, gee, they were itchy blankets, mate. Form up in 2 lines, and we're going to left, right, and up back to the block we went, block B, 2nd floor. I'm out of breath now. I'm knackered because I've carried this bloody kit bag that's nearly as big as me with more gear in it than I weigh. Anyway, we get there. Sergeant says, right, corporals, take them in, sort them out. So goes inside this big long room, and his corporal says, right, what I want you to do now is I want you to tip your kit bag out onto your bed. So there we go. All the kit we'd just been given was tipped onto the bed. He said, right, open up your lockers. And we opened up the 2 locker doors. And, you had shelves down one side, a long one where you could hang stuff, and a short one over the top. He said, right, on that top shelf there, I want you to put your suitcase. He said, because after tomorrow, what's in that suitcase will stay in that suitcase and it'll stay in that locker. So just put it up there in the locker. So we did as we told. I couldn't just reach it, mind you, but I did it. And he said, right, now I want you to find your towels. The towels I've been issued with. So sorted, got the towels out. And he said, right, I'm going to show you what you do with your towels. Right, okay. So he started on opposite on one of the empty beds. He started to fold this green towel that was like stuffy sandpaper. That's what the towels were like, bloody sandpaper. So he started to fold it, and he folded it up all neat and tidy, 6 inches and whatever. And he said, right, that's how you fold your towel. Go ahead, fold your towels. So you're there messing about, folding the towel. So to right, in your locker on the 3rd shelf down, right-hand side, you put that towel to the front. And it just fits. In it goes. So to right. Now I want you to find your... I'm trying to think of what was next. Anyway, we had to go through all our kit, and we didn't have to do it all in the same afternoon, by the way. This was... I'm jumping on a little bit, but he went through all the kit and showed you exactly how to fold it. Everything had to be folded to a precise size and shape. And it went into the locker in a precise place. So we go through one or two. We had loads of kit, loads of it. And we went through one or two bits and bobs. And he said, right, you can do that in your own time, not my time. You can finish it off in your own time, and tomorrow morning we'll be having a look at your lockers. So off he pops, and we're all jumping up and down and whatever, like young kids, really. And we started to fold our stuff up. Next thing you hear him shout, right, everybody outside now. So outside we go. And right, form up into 2 ranks. And we're going to march down for dinner. Dinner, tea, whatever you want to call it. I call it dinner, but it's tea, really. Tea time. I call it dinner. That's where I come from, and that's what I'll call it. Anyway, so he starts marching us off, and left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and off we pop. And we could see that we were marching towards the building that we'd seen as we drove in. The big 5 or 6 story high building that we drove into. And as we came over the hill to go march down to it, you could see at the bottom, and it was just one, there was a big block. And so it was a big block of army buildings, and then this other school bit above it, behind it. And we marched down to the right-hand side. And if you saw the picture at the beginning of the stream that was advertising the stream, that's the picture on there is what the catering college looked like. So anyway, we went down, and he shouted halt, as though we know what fucking halt means. But there you go, we stopped. And he said, right, single file through that door and into the dining room. So off we pop into the dining room, and we walk through this door, and there's this huge, absolutely massive room with tables. And on the right-hand side was a really long hot plate. And you'll know what a hot plate is. You'll have seen them at the services, places like that. That type of a thing. And there was loads of soldiers and whatever already in eating. And as we walked through the door, there was you could hear them, yeah, it's a new crowd, yeah, all this bit. And anyway, he says, right, grab yourself a tray and walk along there and choose what you want for your dinner. Anyway, I'd never seen so much pigging food. You know, normally when I was at my mum's, it would be egg and chips or beans on toast, or might be a meat pie if you're lucky. Get on here, and there must be 20 or 30 main courses, and then puddings. Oh, you know, what's all this about? Anyway, loads of grub. One thing you don't go short of, well, you didn't when I was in, you never went short of food. You were never hungry. So went along, and behind each, little station was a little guy, probably a little bit bigger than me, but Levi, the Kievs were invented then, but I don't. We wouldn't have had them for dinner. Too posh. It was anyway. So behind each serving area was this little guy in cook's whites. You know, he was white top, blue and white check trousers, apron on, and a little pillbox white hat. And he's serving us Paul the Hat. Yeah, I've just said the hat. And so you were serving us. So you went along, and there was, oh God, there was everything. You know, there was there was chicken, beef, liver. There were, I can't remember them all. There were loads and loads and loads of gear stuff. There were chips and mashed potatoes, boiled potatoes, beans, tomatoes. You could just choose what you wanted. Sausages, bacon, eggs, anything, really. Anyway, it was plenty of grub. That was the thing. So you got your little tray, you got your plate, and this guy behind the counter said, "What do you want?" "Oh, can I have a couple of eggs, please?" "Yeah, 2 eggs." "You got an egg? Can I have some sausage and bacon?" Yeah. "Chips?" Yeah. So you get beans, yeah, you get that. And then you go along, and you get your pudding. And there were hot puddings, cold puddings, fruit, anything, whatever you could think it was there to eat. So I've got my tray, I've got a plate with my dinner on, I've got another plate with my pudding on, and then moved up a little bit, and there was some white metal mugs, and you got the white metal mug, and there was tea. No other choice, it was tea. It was in a big urn, and you just put out, filled your cup up, and away you went to find a place to sit. They didn't tell you where you had to sit. You could go and sit where you wanted, but of course we're all new. We don't know anybody else, so we sit together. Basically, we're making friends, if that's the way to go. But that's what it is. So anyway, we went, sat down, and I forgot to tell you that we had to get knives and forks and spoons. And for us, they were at the side, and it was plastic stuff. And we went and sat and had our dinner, basically. And you didn't have to rush, but, we were all excited. We wanted to be basically back to get our gear in order, because we knew next morning they were going to come and look. So, we get everything eaten, and then sat there and waited for this corporal to come across. And the corporal came across, said, "Everybody had their dinners?" "Yeah." "Right, outside." Out we go. Right, form up in 2 lines, and we're going to march back to the barracks. So quick march. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Up we go. Back up the hill, over the hill, back up to the barracks and back to the block. So I said, before you go in, just got a thing for you. So what I want you to do when you get inside is I want you to sort out your eating kit. There's words for it, and I can't remember what they were called. You know, we all had words in the army for different pieces of kit. I can't remember what it was called. But he said, right, you'll have been issued it this afternoon. It'll have been in your kit bag. You need to sort it out, ready for tomorrow morning for when you go for breakfast. So, right, up you go. So we go into our rooms and go through, and I found me my knife, fork, spoon, and metal mug. You know, put my knife, fork, and spoon in the metal mug. And I had no idea where to put it, you know, because from the earlier experience, he'd said everything has a place, and everything has a place, and it needs to be in its place. So we waited for this corporal to come up to tell us where to put our mugs and eating stuff. So I said, right, that goes on the third shelf down, right-hand side. Put that in. He said, right, okay. The last thing I'm going to show you is the ablutions. So I said, follow me. So we followed him and we went across the block to the other side of the, you know, the opposite room to what we were in was the ablutions. And in there were, I think there were about 10 sinks down two sides and 4 toilets at the far end. And I thought, right, that's good. Know where the sink is. We get water and shit, and we know where the toilets are, all sorted. There's no baths. What's that all about? No bloody baths. So we turned round and said to this corporal, you know, there's no baths. So he said, yeah, we'll show you that in a moment. Just get sorted. You know where everything is. Right. Back to your room. I'll give you a call in a little bit. So back to the room, started again, sorting our kit out, you know, hanging our uniform up, if you can call it a bloody uniform, hanging our uniforms up and filling up our locker. And then the one thing I never saw that they'd not issued us with was anything regarding cooking. You know, we didn't have the white shirts, the blue and white pants and aprons and stuff like that. We didn't have any of that. Oh, well, that's a bit crazy. Anyway, so we're messing about, trying to get our stuff sorted out. And, you know, you're trying to help others and they're trying to help you. And you know, if you can't do it right, somebody, I'll show you. And, you know, you went, I'll show you. So up we pop and we're messing about. And then all of a sudden you hear again, right, ass is outside now. So up we pop again, down the stairs, out the door. Form into 2 ranks outside here now. Move it. So out we go. 2 ranks. He says, right turn. By the left, quick march. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Oh, I don't fucking know where we're going now. Anyway, we're marching along. We passed B block. well, we started at B block. That's the one I'm in. Past B block, past A block, and down the hill. And then as we got down the hill, you could see another block at the bottom. And as we get to the bottom, he shouts, left. He didn't say left turn. I can't remember what the command is. Anyway, we had to turn left. We had to go left round this building. He said, halt. We stopped. He said, right. This is the toilet block. Oh, toilet block. We've just had a toilet block because we've got them. So he said, right, inside. So in we go. And in this big block was baths. And that line's just put me off. Sorry. Yeah, so there were baths. So, oh, well, this is where the baths are. And then to the right of those, there were shower cubicles. Oh, wow. I'd never had a shower. Except in the rain, you know, when I was when I was delivering papers, I used to get wet through in the rain. That's the only time I'd had a bloody shower, but there were showers. So you could have a shower or a bath. It wasn't just baths, you know, there were baths within a little room type thing. So you did have privacy. About the only place in the bloody army where you did get any privacy was in the shitter or in the bath. But there you go. So we, and I can't remember how he told us, but he said these are open until 9 at night. They're open every day until 9 p.m. You can't come in here after 9 p.m. So there you go. So it's right outside, back. So outside. Form up with 2 ranks, right turn, quick march, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and back up the hill, past A block, into the front of B block. He says, right, in you go, and start getting yourself sorted out. So back in we go, back to our lockers and trying to get stuff sorted. So it might have been an hour afterwards. Don't know how long it was. But he came back in and shouted, stand by your beds. And stood there. Some of us had got rid of most of our kit. Some hadn't. Some had got rid of it all. You know, some had packed away all. Some were really good and some were really bad. But it was sorted. And so, of course, we stood at the end of the beds and he said, right, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to make a bed. How to make a fucking bed. He said, and you might think you know how to make a bed, but I'm going to show you the army way of making a bed. Oh, God, there's always an army way of everything, isn't there? Anyway, so if you've got anything on top of your bed, take it off, put it underneath. If everything's off, that's fine. All you want on your bed is the mattress. So there we go. Everything is either in the locker or under the bed. He said, right, the first thing you do is in your kit bag or in your kit that you've been issued with a mattress protector. Find that. It's like a big white bag that's as long as your bed. Find that. So we all found our things, he said, and you put that onto that mattress. And when I say onto it, I don't mean you lay it on top. You put the bloody mattress inside. So in it goes, mattress goes in, tying the ends up, and one mattress, which was a mucky old green thing, we now had a mattress that was bright and white. The only white thing I'd seen all bloody day, except for us. But so on it goes. So he said, right now, the two pillows. Now, these two pillows that we had were on top of the lockers. And of course, you had to, if you couldn't reach, you had to get the tallest guy to come and get them off for you. But anyway, we got the pillows down. He said, right, put them on the floor. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to put on a sheet onto your bed. So find your sheets. No, we had two sheets, cotton. And he said, right, put the first sheet onto the top of the bed and lay it out. Okay, that's how we normally make a bed, but there you go. So he said, right, I'm going to show you how you put that sheet onto that bed properly. So, okay. Anyway, he started to show us how to put the sheet onto the bed properly. And what it was you had to fold the sheet over the bottom of the bed and under, and then go to the top and pull the sheet over the top and under. And it had to be tight, you know, like a drum top. Tap on it and it would bounce, you know, tight. He said, right, now you've done that, you get to the corner and what you're going to do is you're going to make hospital corners. Oh, fucking hospital corners, what's he all about? And what it is, there's a way of doing hospital corners. I'm not going to try and explain it, but it's fairly easy. Once you've done it, it's fairly easy. So we did these hospital corners, all four, done and dusted. And he came round, he said, right, I'm going to come round and check. And he came round and he threw a penny onto your bed. And it like hit the middle of the bed and it bounced. So he picked that one up, went through it and it bounced. Next one through it and bounced. Went the next one through it and it didn't bounce. He said, well, your bed's not good enough. Do it again. So anyway, he did it again while we came back to do the next bit of making the bed. So he said, right, pick your pillows up and you've got two pillowcases, and these were white as well. So, oh, wow, we're on a roll here. He said, put your pillows into your pillowcases and put them at the top of your bed. So again, you had to do it properly. You know, the cases were a lot bigger than the pillows. So you had to fanny them about, folding them at the ends to make them like thing. Two pillows went on. He says, right, now you get your second sheet, lay it like your first sheet, and at the bottom, do it again, fold it in, and what you do now is you put your hospital corners into there, but you don't tuck in the edges. Just let it go. So off it went. So we're all there with two sheets on, two pillowcases all set. And he said, right, now you should have a blanket. One blanket. So there you go. Gets the blanket. He says, right, you put your blanket on exactly the same way as you've just put on your top sheet. So fold it at the bottom, fold it over, put part of a hospital corner on the corner and thing. Turn the white, you know, the top of the top sheet that's showing, you turn it over a little bit. Says, right, now you've made your beds. And that's how they'll be. That's the way to make a bed. So she said, right, if you haven't finished getting all your gear into your lockers, I suggest you do it now. He said, because you haven't got very much time. So there we go, finishing off all our stuff. And the next thing you hear is, right, what I want you to do now is get ready for bed. Fucking ready for bed. It's like 7:45. So we started to get ready for bed. So I said, but just remember, you're not taking anything out of your suitcase that you've brought. You've been issued with your army pyjamas. You want them on. So there we go. So get to put the army pyjamas on. He said, right, you know where the washroom is. Go and sort yourselves out. When you're in bed, 8 o'clock. Lights going out at 5 past. So all rush in. We're all, doing our bits and bobs and whatever. Back into the room. He said, right, get in beds. Lights will be going up in 5 minutes. I don't want to hear any noise, any screaming, any shouting. Nobody switch the lights back on because they won't come back on. Don't try. And I'll see you at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30? No wonder we're going to bed at 8. Anyway, so he said, there you go. Get in your beds. And I was quite glad to get into bed because I was absolutely knackered, to tell you the truth. So that was the first day in the army, and we come for nearly an hour, and I think I've done quite well there because I had notes already and I couldn't find any, so I've had to try and remember things. I might have forgotten a few things, but hopefully you've got a little bit of a picture of the first day. There was a lot more shouting, a lot more screaming. It was nobody spoke to you. It was, well, it wasn't shouts. It was. I don't know. It was authoritative speaking, basically. They made themselves known. So that was the first day. And like I say, I'm impressed that I've managed to get for nearly an hour talking about that. Anybody got any questions they want to ask before I finish for the hour? But I did see one or two coming through. Let's see if I can have a look. Yeah, so somebody asked who the pictures were. So up there, that one there, it's really hard, isn't it, when you're watching this? That one behind me up there is my mother. Above my head there's Levi at the moment on the screen, and then it'll go through my children. So there's my granddaughter, and it'll go through my children, my granddaughters, my granddaughter. I don't think I've got more than one. My granddaughter, that's my grandson. So that's my family. And up over there, up in the top left-hand corner, is my children, my younger children, the youngest children, and me when we were in Barcelona. It's my favourite photograph, is that. So above my head at the moment is my daughter. Yes, Kels, we were all below 16. Everybody was below 16. And like I say, there was, I think there was 15 or 20 of us. I'm not quite sure now. that had got onto the bus. What I missed out was before we got sent to our barracks, when we were on the parade square thing, we were, before we were split up into platoons, Cassino Platoon and Burma Platoon. We were split up into two groups, and the two groups were called apprentices and tradesmen. I was a tradesman. Shetland Smith was a tradesman. Some were apprentices. Now, didn't mean a thing to me. But apparently what it was, when we all took the, the test to join the army, it was decided then what you were going to be. You were going to be a tradesman or you were going to be an apprentice. So the more brainy you were, you went to the apprentices side. Well, I wasn't that brainy. I went to the tradesman's side. Anyway, so that's how we were split up. And then it carried on after that to us being split up into platoons. So we're all the same age and young and innocent. And, we couldn't talk a lot between us because it'd been all day. Ever since getting off that train at Aldershot, it'd been, everything was done at double the speed. This had to be done, that had to be done, this had to be done. So that was the first day. First day is done and dusted, and we went to sleep. So for next week, I'm going to spread it next week's out a little bit long, give you more info on what type of things happened in the time. So just before I go, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background on to the Army Catering College, which we were all at. We were at the Army Catering College, Army Catering College, Aldershot. But the Catering College, or the regiment I was with, Junior Tradesmen's Regiment, was split like I don't know, public school or private school or whatever you call these schools, and it was split up into four terms. So there were 4 terms in each year. So you had your winter, summer, spring, autumn, those 4 terms. And each term lasted 13 weeks. So, of course, I joined in September, which was the first term I was there, and that would last for 13 weeks. And as far as I can remember, that would take us September, October, November. Yeah. So it took us up towards Christmas. And then, of course, you had your Christmas leave. You come back in January and you did your next term, 13 weeks. You didn't get, you didn't get half terms and shit like that. It was a 13-week term. And everything was set out into 13-week periods. So that's the background to what's going to come next week. And if anybody wants to ask questions, of course, go below. Put it in a comment, because I'll answer the questions. I just find it a little bit difficult to answer questions as they're coming in. Because I nearly said the wrong thing then. It puts me off a little bit because I lose the track of what I'm saying if I start to try and answer questions. So I appreciate everybody who's turned up. And, I just can't imagine why people sit and listen to this silly old twat here talking about a load of bollocks. Because, it's nothing, really. I don't know how you can find it interesting. But there you go. as long as people watch, I'll keep on doing it, as they say. So anyway, folks, I do thank you all for turning up. I do. And as you know, I can't say, I can't, when I come towards the end, I can't say, oh, thanks for coming to you. I can remember some people. So we've got Kels, I can remember, Levi, Dom, The Hat, OG. Thanks for coming. And again, tomorrow night, hopefully, me and Bobby will be arguing the toss in Monday Madness. That's if I can get me fucking PC to work properly. But we'll see how it goes. I can't quite get me thing right. There we go. Yeah, so glad you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, I'm glad. But don't forget, down below, click, like, or dislike. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't do any good, does it, really? But it's good to have. And leave a comment below. Because, you know, I'll have said a load of stuff. Well, I might not have said a load of stuff, but I might have said stuff, and you might want clarification on something I've said. Or I might have got the fact wrong, what I'd said, you know, because you've got to remember I'm 70 and I'm going back 60 years. And if I didn't, and I haven't had my cue cards tonight, but if I had the cue cards, I'd have remembered a lot more. So anyway, thank you for anyway, thanks for turning up, and live long and prosper, and TTFN, take care. That's all for this week's Sunday at 7. Thank you so much for spending part of your Sunday evening with me. I really enjoy sharing these stories and chats with you, and I hope you'll join me next Sunday at 7 for more conversation and good company. If you've enjoyed tonight's stream, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment with any ideas or feedback. I'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to catch up on previous episodes, you'll find them all in the Sunday at 7 playlist. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.